What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's time for live, full-time reaction to Celtic 1, Aberdeen 0 at Celtic Park, a fifth win in a row for us. This is a live format. You can ask your questions and put your comments in the live chat box below, and we'll try and pick out any good ones as we go through. Daniel, 5 wins on the spin. It's not very often that's happened this season. What did you make, just briefly, overall, of what you've seen tonight?
I know, who would have thought that, eh? 5 wins. Gosh, my goodness. I thought the first half was very good again. We were pinning Aberdeen back, penetrating them. I did think even into the second half we did kind of start to slow down. You could see that Aberdeen were starting to grow into the game, and the game started to become very open. Naturally, some players did start to tire as well, I thought, but overall, listen, we've got the win, which is the most important thing. We've got the 3 points. Could we played a lot better? Absolutely, of course we could have. You can just see times where we're just missing that kind of final touch, just at the final third. You can see it. We've got some players again I don't think look fit at all. You can see that, I think, throughout parts of the team. But the way that the team delivered, and again we're going to go through it again in the players, of course, but it's just good to come away with the 3 points.
Yeah. Martin, Ayeti, Sorrow and Welsh came back into the team tonight, and I thought, as Daniel said there, in the early part of the game, I thought we were really good. I thought we pressed the game well. I thought in possession we looked sharp, and we were forcing mistakes for Aberdeen, but we were pressing early in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the gaffer talk before the match, and he said those changes were made just to give us a bit of freshness, a bit of fresh legs. I thought those 3 players, Sorrell was good, Welsh was quite solid. I thought Yeti huffed and puffed, but the early part of the game, it was quite convincing, and there was enough chances. I think it's been the story of the season, though. We've not taken the chances. McGregor's one was unfortunate, nearly put it in the top corner. There's another couple of decent chances first half. So did Aberdeen. But that has been the main problem, not getting that second goal often enough, and then just going into the second half concerned that we can lose a goal. So for all our possession and good play in the first half to be 1-0 up, the nervousness continued into the second half. And we did have a bit of freshness, but it's not fluid enough. Would probably be the assessment. And yeah, I'm sure you'll come to go in a minute, Paul, but the easiness of the goal suggested that we could easily got more than 1 on the night, but it wasn't 3.
Yeah. We're just having some issues with Martin's audio there. We'll try and work on that and bring him back in. Daniel, as Martin says there, the goal, Aberdeen always play the same way against us, man for man. The problem for them with that is that as soon as somebody loses a man or gets by them, the whole pitch just opens up. And Bain finds McGregor on his left foot, and McGregor's just got the whole pitch to run into. And he gives it to Turnbull. What a strike. What an unbelievable strike. The technique, brilliant. He's tried that a few times. You can see that he's really good at that low drive. It almost fizzes it straight into the bottom corner. What a goal it was.
Stunning. Just, I think we all can see that when he gets that ball in that particular position, you know what he's going to do with it. We've seen it. I think it's 8 or 9 he's had now for the season, and every single time. What I love about him as well, Paul, he's determination to get forward, and he's got a great eye for goal. His awareness and just his agility and everything, just to see and create that bit of space for himself as well. And again, the technique that he uses is absolutely fantastic. I think Ryan Christie's want to be taking a few notes just to see exactly how it's done. But no, what a strike! And we can't keep relying on the likes of Turnbull to be doing that. The whole team need to be doing that on a more regular basis, with the likes of Edward and other players, of course. But no, it's that bit of magic, and it's very, very rare to see that. But we've got a gem there, so we have, and I can't wait to see him in the coming months and future, of course, just to see how he does, because I think he's going to be a world-class player for us.
I think at that time in the game, you were thinking, right, can we go on now and maybe get a few more goals? Because we were really dominating Aberdeen probably for the first half hour, but we just couldn't find that second goal.
No, it was I just, again, like I said earlier on, I thought that our kind of final pass just it wasn't really coming to fruition at all. You could see Edward was trying to, again, at times to do that one too many pass, and it just wasn't really kind of clicking at all. We were trying to get Kenny and Taylor involved with the width, but just one of those kind of games where it just nothing really at the end was coming off, and that's where you're expecting and you're hoping for the likes of Turnbull, Christie, just to kind of come to life and spark that wee bit of magic for us. But we were needing that second goal, and we were all hoping it was going to come, because as the game went on, you knew that Aberdeen were going to come into the game more, because they're going to go for it. You know, they're sitting just one goal down, not really much to play for. They're going to just end up coming out. And you've seen that, as I said, because we did start to tire, I felt, towards the end of the game. And we were all sitting here hoping that we were going to get that second goal. But listen, it never came in the end. But it's something, again, we can look to work on.
Yep. Martin, we're just saying there, that domination in the first half, the only thing we're really lacking was a goal. And I think talking about Aberdeen's system and the way they usually play against us, if somebody manages to lose their man, we've got the whole pitch to play into. And time again, it was Christopher Ayer tonight. He goes on to get man of the match tonight, probably for his defensive heroics in the second half. But in the first half, coming out with the ball again, a great asset for us, as I keep saying, in that sort of setup where he's the man who needs to come out with the ball because the midfield players are being marked.
Yeah, well, he's so good at it, isn't he? He gallops up the pitch and really hard to get the ball off him. You don't see defenders doing that. Today was, I don't know if you've touched on this already, but today was his 5th anniversary, 5 years exactly since he joined the club, and he has been an asset for us. I think we're expecting that he won't be here for much longer, but it's great to see him galloping up the pitch. I mean, he goes running past the likes of Scott Brown and sometimes some of the midfielders to show them how it should be done. But the goal itself, I think, was only 2 passes, wasn't it? I mean, McGregor must have ran for about 40 yards for the goal. He ran the length of the pitch with nobody near him. The space was incredible. But Ayer's been a real asset, whether it be out wide or whether it be through the middle. That's what he's really good at. And he was originally a midfielder, but is also quite good at the back, but probably more comfortable playing offensively and playing in midfield than he is at the back. But we will miss him when he goes, that's for sure. He's been good.
Absolutely. Daniel, I think just towards the end of the first half, though, for all our dominance, Aberdeen did come into it. They had a wee spell before half time. Obviously, Canberra hits the post, maybe a couple of balls into the box as well, and that was maybe a sign of what was to come in the second half.
Absolutely. And I think as well, Darnell D touched on it perfectly. You've seen how much of an aerial threat the Aberdeen players are, especially their defenders. When it comes to the zonal marking, you're seeing Greg Taylor marking Ash Taylor. Now, to me, that's just completely boggling. That just shouldn't be happening. You can see that clearly the difference in height between the two of them. And I think Greg Taylor's screaming as if, like, why am I marking? What's going on here? So that's something that they need to rectify, because, again, when better teams, as we know, are attacking, they're going to create chances, and our set pieces have not been the best this season at all at defending set pieces. I just thought that was something that was just really strange, and I'm surprised that that's not been picked up on. And I've seen it a few times tonight as well, and in previous games, because that's what Aberdeen were doing. They were just trying to get the ball up the park, and you've seen it with that's who they're going for, because Greg Taylor's probably one of the smallest guys in the pitch, and he's just screaming for a wee bit of cover and help. So something they do need to look at.
Yeah, I think, Martin, into the second half, I was kind of optimistic after the first half performance. I know Aberdeen had that wee spell we've just talked about, but I was surprised at how the second half went. I thought certainly the first half of the second half, Aberdeen were the aggressor. They were the team that were pushing for a goal, and we just really struggled for a real foothold in the game and to have the spells of possession that we did have in the first half and create anything at all, really.
Yeah, it was like they came out with slightly different tactics, and you've seen their manager was a bit wound up at half time, moaning about some of the decisions that had been made in the first half. So they came out with a bit of aggression, and Celtic, I think, came out with the intention just to continue what they'd done in the first half and then had to adjust. But what I would say about the conclusion of the game is the substitutions, partly predictable, because we see Ayeti getting taken off and Scott Brown coming on, and Sorrell's been taken off the last few games, and Kamala getting a wee bit of time on the pitch. But I'm not sure the substitutions the last few weeks have worked at all. I mean, obviously your substitution should strengthen the team and give you a bit of lift, but it's been the polar opposite. It's created a bit of flatness. So I think Neil Lennon and the backroom staff need to rethink the substitutions that they're making in some of these games, because I would hope that the intention wasn't at 60 minutes just to try and see out the game with 30 minutes to go. You would hope it would be, let's get that second goal. Yet he went off with his face tripping him again. He doesn't like getting subbed, but he should surely realise that until he's going to be fully fit, he's going to get that hour, and he's got an hour to make an impact. And tonight he didn't get a goal and didn't make a huge impact. So whether Brown coming on for Sorrow was the right decision. I thought Sorrow played well. The suggestion was he tired in the game, but I thought he played all right. But they are becoming a bit predictable, and Turnbull's our star man. So yeah, we need to somehow find the right substitutions in the game to inject a bit of energy into the team and finish games a bit stronger than we have done. I think earlier in the season we were getting late goals, but that hasn't been the case quite so much in all our games in recent weeks. Albeit we finished strongly in one of the games, didn't we? Was at St Mirren, finished strongly. So, but yeah, flat second half and almost nervous. We've seen it a lot where we lose that goal, and thought that might happen again tonight.
Daniel, I thought obviously Sorrow coming back into the team tonight. I think he played well out of possession. I think a couple of times in possession he gave the ball away in the first half. But just to touch on the substitutions, as Martin's saying there, again, I was a bit surprised at them, because it did seem as if we were happy to try and see out that one goal lead. And listen, we managed to do it, but I just looked like we were too happy to soak up Aberdeen's pressure and not try and go and look for the second goal, which would probably have killed the game, because you take off a Yeti and you bring on Mogic, so you're taking off a striker for a 10 or a midfielder if you want. And then it's Brown on for Sorrow, and I think even later on in the game when Turnbull and Edward come off, okay, they might be tiring, but we bring on Klimala and El Yunusi as well, who have got legs and a lot more energy. So it looked like we were just trying to get through to full time late on in that second half.
As Martin said there, it's predictable now. You know exactly what's happening before it even does. Yeah, Yeti didn't really do much at all, I don't think, today. I agree with you both. Sorrow had a fantastic game. He did kind of tire, I think, towards the end of it, and some of his passing at times he was a bit kind of slack, and he did give a few balls away. I'm not again. They're baffling at times. We've discussed it before at length, and I don't understand again why Turnbull isn't getting the 90 minutes. We've seen it like last week before, you were getting 85, 86, and you're just thinking, just give the guy the 90 minutes. You know, he's had his injury. There was talk about maybe they were looking to manage him, of course, because he did have such a long layoff. But at the end of the day, he's been playing now since the kind of before the end of the year, and he's been fantastic for us. And just I think, especially at the age that he is, he needs to be playing these 90 minutes, and it's no going to do his kind of confidence any good if he's getting hooked 10, 15 minutes beforehand as well, when Martin rightly said there's a star player on the pitch. But no, they're just absolutely baffling, the substitutions, and I think Aberdeen could kind of see that as well. It's just so predictable, and I was worrying that exactly as you said there, we're just trying to see out. There's no plan there, you know. There's no plan to kind of try and press and just get that push for that second goal. Just everything's just you know what's happening before it does. So.
Martin, I thought, again, talking about themes in terms of the substitutions all season, we still look really panicky at set pieces. Or a couple of times tonight where it was first time clearances and it was all a bit all over the place at times in terms of defending the set pieces.
Yeah, I mean, our defence isn't the biggest defence, is it? Obviously, Ayers in there with a bit of height, but you think of some of the other players that have featured in there that should be dominating. So Duffy and Beaton and Julian have got a bit of presence, albeit that they've not necessarily used their height to good effect throughout the season. But there's not a lot of height in there for a kick-off, and the problems we've had in the past is accountability and who's doing what, who's marking the post, who's marking the opposition, players who are likely to attack the ball, etc. So there's definitely still that nervousness. I think what we have brought with Turnbull is when we've got a set play, you feel far more confident that it's going to create something. Didn't tonight, but in general we've improved in that area, but not defensively. We're still struggling for sure. just on the Turnbull one, Paul. Looking at what an impact he's made on the team earlier on. So he came in. I think it was a Lille game was his first game that he came in. I think some of the reason is 17 games he's featured. But if you look at the games that him and Eddie have played together, it's astounding the stats. So 4 games prior to the Rangers game, and they scored 6 goals in that 4-game period, 3 each. And then Eddie had his period where he wasn't well and had a few games off. We made a bit of mess at post to buy and had a shadow team. But after that, 7 games now, and Turnbull scored 2 and Eddie scored 8, a return of 10 between them. So therefore, overall, during that period where they featured in 11 games, they actually both played in the Rangers game as well. But other than the Rangers game, they've scored in every single game that the two of them have started, which is just incredible. And 11 goals for Eddie and 5 for Turnbull. So what a difference they've made, and hearing that story, you can't deny what a difference Turnbull's made to Edward when they're both in the team. You know, one of the two of them were scoring. The returns during that period sensational. It just goes to show what a difference an offensive and a clever midfielder can make to a striker.
Aye, absolutely. I think you can see at times the link up between them. I think good players like playing with good players, and I think those two technically are on the same level, and I think you can see that at times. And I think Turnbull has got a goal in him as we keep seeing, and I think Edouard brings the best out in most players that are round about him, because he makes it so easy to play with him at times. Daniel, I think in the second half, in terms of chances, Callum McGregor, who I think played well at times tonight, I thought Callum McGregor was one of the standouts, maybe along with Ayer and Welsh at the back. It is a great run and he cuts it back for Turnbull, and you think it's got 2-0 written all over it, but he just can't get the right contact, David Turnbull.
I'm scheming, just thinking, come on, it's going to be 2-0. But listen, I'm not going to be too critical because he's as Martin said, he's been absolutely fantastic for us since he's come in. But like I said earlier on, you're needing everybody to be doing this, not just the likes of your McGregors, your Edwards, and your Turnbull. Everybody in that team needs to be doing it inconsistently, because it seems to be our star men that are kind of bailing us out every single time. Didn't really feel there was many other kind of chances at the game.
I think Klimala has one right at the end, but that was about
it. Yeah. You look at it and you see it. I think if that's somebody who's in form and who's playing regularly, that it's a goal. It's 2-0. But he's not featured hardly at all, Klimala, and we don't know how good he's going to become. I don't know how much he's going to feature. It's just one of the if, buts, and when kind of thing, you know. But I'm hoping he does come good. But we need people in that are going to be in doing the job like Edward's doing, scoring goals kind of consistently now, so to speak, because we've not got time to really be waiting about, and people development need somebody in immediately that's going to be able to score and create chances.
Yeah. Martin, the other thing I wanted to touch on tonight is the fitness, obviously. How much do you think the tiring towards the end of the game is because we've played a game every 3 days for as long as I can remember now, most of this calendar year anyway, and how much of it do you think is that undercurrent that we've seen all season about the concerns of the fitness level of the players and how it seems to have dipped at some points throughout the season? Or do you think tonight is just a knock-on effect of having played all those games in such a short space of time?
I think it's the latter, because the squad's changed so much. It's incredible. I mean, there's only 3 or 4 players that have played a lot of games this season. Everybody else has spent as much time on the bench as they have in the park. We've certainly made use of the squad, but for the wrong reasons. It's been dropping players because they've not been playing well. I think Callum McGregor and Ayer, and for a period probably Christie, were the 3 that were playing all the time. But I'm not sure any other player could say that they've played a lot this season, whether it be injuries or the manager choosing to put them on the bench for underperforming. So I don't think it's playing the games every 3 weeks. I mean, we're playing the reserves for the first part of January. Last year, Dubai, we came back and we hit the ground running, and we're playing 2 games most weeks, because that's just the fixture calendar, isn't it? And in fact, we had the Copenhagen games last year at this time of the year as well. Remember back to that and excitement around that. We've not got that to worry about. We've not got Scottish Cup game to worry about. So whilst it feels like it's busy, it's fairly standard for this time of year. And yes, we're seeing a little bit of continuity in the squad now, but there's still changes. I mean, there was 3 tonight. So I think players are getting a sufficient level of rest. You look at Taylor's just came back in, he was out for absolutely ages. We've just signed somebody on the other side, Kenny, so it does feel like there's enough freshness and enough changes in the squad that they can't blame it on the number of games. In my opinion, Paul, I think there's something underlying in there where the players should be fitter. Is the issue, without a doubt. And these guys get paid an absolute fortune. So with all due respect to some of the players we're playing against, we should be much fitter than them. We should be running twice the distance that they're running. We should be signing in the best players at our club, in our league anyway, certainly. It's different when you're playing PSG and teams like that. It should be the opposite, but that's the disappointing part. We should be finishing games really strongly, and part of that's just down to do the players know each other's strengths? Do they know each other? Have we created that continuity where people understand what runs are going to be made? Do we have that connection where we talked about Turnbull and Eddie? We've not had the same striking partnership for any period of time, so I think it's like the continuity and the lack of understanding in the team, because we keep changing the personnel. And you look at the players that we signed that we thought were going to be our star players. I mean, who's featured in there now? Duffy and Barkas and Laxal and Ayeti and Klamala. The list is endless. They're all sitting on the bench. They're all sitting on the bench. So I don't think it's the number of games. Definitely not.
See, when you think about the number of games as well, as you just said there, see if we were still in Europe with the fixture backlog we've had, with the COVID postponements and stuff like that way back at the start of the season. I mean, this was our final game in hand, if you like, tonight against Aberdeen. What kind of situation would we be in if we were still in the Europa League, say, tomorrow? We still wouldn't be able to play these games, so we would have even more fixtures piling up. I just want to bring in a question for Paul Mooney. If you want to look at stats, Kenny has won every game he's played and is much more solid than Frimpong. So what about mentioning that? We've actually talked about John Joe Kenny on most post matches since he came to the club, and I think he does look a lot more solid than Frimpong. I think maybe not as dynamic going forward, Daniel, but he certainly looks reliable in a defensive sense.
Absolutely, I think he's quite assured in the ball, and it reminds me of that kind of Adam Matthews type. I think we've mentioned it before. I think defending he's pretty solid. Don't think he's one of the quickest, but he's got a bit of pace about him, which is really good. And yeah, he's won every single game that he's played in. I just think as well that with Taylor on the left, Ayer, Welsh and Cheney, it does look a wee bit more solid. It does, and obviously is a bit of a bigger boy than what likes of Frimpong was. So, I mean, I thought he played well again tonight. I think his decision making is very good as well. He's not rash. Times he challenges really well, and again he's played at a high level, already. So he's going to know exactly what he needs to do, and it'll be good to see how he performs the remainder of the season. And if anything happens after that, then remains to be seen. But no, he played really, really well tonight.
Yeah, I'm impressed with him so far, as I said a few times. He definitely looks like a strong right back, that's for sure. Martin, last one on tonight. Who was your man of the match?
Can I just quickly say on Kenny? I think he reminds me a bit like a Jackie McNamara, as in a reliable player. He reminds me like that type of player. Never really lets you down, doesn't do anything daft. Man of the match, I would go with the sponsors man of the match. I was in agreement with that, so he's my man of the match.
Yeah, Daniel.
Got to give it to Turnbull. I was swaying with Ailey Martin there, but I've got to give it to Turnbull for his goal and just how he's creating these chances for us, and you just goal return is fantastic. So yeah, David Turnbull for me. Yeah,
I think there was actually a few candidates tonight. As I said, I thought Callum McGregor played really well at times in the game. I think Welsh did really well, defended well at times, but I'm just going to go Wire as well. I think in the first half we saw his attacking attributes. It really helped us, and then in the second half I thought he defended really well, so he's my man of the match. That's it for tonight. Like the video, comment your own thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you shortly for Twitter reactions. Cheers.